everybody, it's Joni Young here. Welcome back for another tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a pretty red flower in the middle of the forest. We're going to create a lot of mood with this, so a lot of darker tones and then accent that and highlight that with some softer tones, focusing on the flower here and a little bit of soft light in the background. So I hope you guys are excited to learn how to paint this today. Let's go over some of the supplies I'm using today, and be sure to look below this video for the full description, everything I'm using, and link to my Patreon where you can view hundreds of exclusive tutorials commercial free, and you can also connect with me one-on-one there, and I can give you critiquing on your paintings and one-on-one advice. Okay, so starting off here, I've got a 12 by 16 double primed and stretched canvas. I have the following colors: titanium white, Hooker's green hue permanent, Mars black, Quinachrodone magenta, luminous red, and luminous yellow. You can use any other colors that are similar to these or whatever you like. And I have the following brushes: a 1-inch mop brush that's nice and soft. I'm going to show you an excellent way to blend your acrylics for a soft and blurry background with this, so stick around for that. And I've got a number 4 filbert brush, a 30 filbert brush, and a long liner brush, a number 2. So let's jump in and get started. Okay, so for the background, I'm going to be coming in with my largest filbert brush here, a little bit of water, and I'm just going to wet the canvas a bit. This is part of the steps you need to take in order to get a soft, blended, blurry looking background. So just adding a little bit of water, and then we'll come in with our paint in just a moment. I just want to make sure this is evenly coated. I've also got a little spray bottle here with a fine misting setting spray, just water. You can spray your canvas with this. You can also spray your palette. It'll keep your acrylics from drying out. So let's come in with the colors now. I'm going to be taking some green and a little bit of black and a little bit of white. So all 3 colors, least amount of white though. And I'm just going to pull up and down. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more paint. Those 3 colors again, a little bit more water. What I want to do is leave a little bit of light areas for some sunlight to come through. I'm going to add a little bit more green, black and white again. Some more green again. Picking up some water, because I still have a lot of paint I can work out of my brush and across the canvas. I just need a little bit of water just to help spread that around. Before this can dry, I'm going to go and soften this up, airbrush it with this little mop brush. My mop brush is dry, the paint is still wet, and we're just going to go around in little circles like this. Soften. Add a little bit more water here, just to keep that paint wet enough. I'm going to take a little bit of white and blend that in and out. So you get a nice soft pattern if you move that paint around in little circles like this. Okay, so now I'm going to wash both of these brushes out. And I'm going to dry this off, and then we'll start coming in with some trees in the background. Okay, so I just took a moment to dry this off. I'm going to now come in with some trees, and I'm going to be using my number 4 filbert brush for this. I'm going to take a little bit of water, and I'm going to mix up some of this crimson here and some green. And that gives us a nice deep dark color. You can make it darker if you want by adding a little bit more green. And we've already got some lines faintly in the background from brushing up and down for our base coat. So you can go by that, or you can just come in and just add some newer ones. I want these to look somewhat out of focus, so I'm going to go over, I'm not going to give them a really defined edge. I'm going to blend them out to make them look a little bit blurry on either side. Now you can come back in the center and darken those up if you want to after. Now down here, we're just going to be adding some dark, even darker tones, so you don't have to worry too much about what the ends of the bottoms of your trees look like. Okay, so I'm just going to come in and add a little more here and there. Maybe one that's a little slanted here. Take just a little bit of water. Help work that paint out of my brush. You'll see the dry brush with hardly any paint on back here gives it even more of a faded look. And then you can just take a little bit of black if you want, mix that in, a little bit of black, green, and the crimson. I love using the crimson with this green. It just makes a really beautiful complementary color palette. And I'm going to come in the bottom area with my larger brush, and I'm going to take some black, red, and green, and I'm going to come down here and just start pulling, curving, and just kind of flicking this way and that way. Just a little something like that. And while the paint is still wet, you can do this if the paint is dry as well, but I'm doing this while the paint is wet. I'm just going to come in and add a little bit more of my green now. So I'm going to take some green and some white, and we're going to paint some leaves. Okay, we're going to have one that comes up here. We're going to gently push, then twist and let off. That way we get a thinner edge there. And then we'll make this a little bit wider. And it's going to get darker down here. And pick up a little bit of that black and have that blend out. If yours is dry, then just come back in to make it a little darker with some more paint. Okay, let's add a little bit more green and white. Pulling that off. We can go out this way and start thin with the end of our brush, push, push, have that curl over, take some darker tones, less white, a little bit of black and green. Right in this area where it curves over, it'll be out of the light, so a little darker. And rinsing that out, or just working that paint out of my brush, or you can wash your brush. Load our brush up with the green and the white. I'm going to come in here and do this again, make this a little brighter here where we want the light to be. Okay, now we're going to come in and add another one right in here. We're going to layer over a little bit. And we'll add another one here. Picking up a little bit of that crimson underneath. Rinse all that out, and then I'm just going to sweep that off. Gently sweep and make it a little thinner. A little thinner. I'm going to come in and add the stem, and I'm going to use my green, black, and red. Make sure you have a little bit of water in your brush. And we're going to just come right down here in the middle. I'm going to take black and I'm going to add that right down here. Take a little bit more black and green this time. Come underneath and right on the edge of that leaf. I'm going to take green and white. And I'm going to go outside the edges of the stem. And then come inside if I accidentally go over the center too much, like I just did. Just to have it stand out a little bit more. Now what you could also do is paint the whole stem the green and white and then come inside with a little bit of black. Either works. Now it's time to come in with our flower. So I'm going to start with some yellow and white. A little bit of yellow and white here, and we're going to start in the center. With two little oval shapes like this. We're going to use this soft gold base to build up on, because this will give us some nice bright lighting and make our red really vibrant. Okay, and then we're going to come in on the side and add a little bit here as well. Just going to bring this up and make this a little bit taller. Okay, then I'm going to take red and the yellow, and I'm going to start adding this lightly over and pulling down. What the gold underneath does is really keep these colors nice and bright once they're dry. I'm going to take some more red. Okay, I'm going to rinse this brush up. And I'm going to go into a little bit of black, a little bit of the darker red. Work off most of that paint, just want a little bit here. And I'm going to bring this stem up. And I'm going to create a little scoop like this. Bring that up here. Just letting these colors kind of pick up the other colors below and softly blend. Outlining this one, and then a light little pull. You get those little lines within those petals, wet and wet like this. Okay, and I'm going to rinse my brush out, completely dry this off, and we'll bring in some more color and some light in the background. Okay, so that is all dry. And I'm going to come in with some sun rays in the back before we add some more light to our, just rinse this out once more. I think I've got a little bit of black in there still. There we go. Okay, a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. And I'm going to add some light here, some light back here from our sun. Soften. Take a little bit more of the yellow now and go over part of the tree. Catch just a little bit on the outside there. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to my brush. Go back in for some thinned out yellow and white. So the water really helps to thin that out so you can get a nice sun ray. Come in with some more of the yellow and white now. And this is a little bit wet still. Now if this happens to you, I'll show you how you can fix that. So if it's still wet enough that you can gently come over and just wipe that away, you can do that. And if it's dry, then what you'll do is just paint over it. I'm going to add a little bit more white in the center here. A little bit of light there. Gently pull. Shorter brush strokes. And then you can make some of them a little bit wider as they go out. It all depends on how big you want your sun rays to be. I'm going to add a little bit of this golden light, a little bit of green in with this. I'm going to have it casting a little bit of light here on the stem and a little bit on this leaf here. Okay, now I'm going to come back here over top with a little bit of yellow, red, and a little bit of the black. Yellow, just to have that sun creating some heat and rays hitting these trees here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is bring in some more of this red in here with a little hint of green. Little splash of color. And then a little bit more green. So you don't want to really make leaf shapes. You want to block in these colors. Add a little hint of white maybe if you're wanting some sunlight to show up on some of these back leaves. And I'm just going to go around in a few little circles here just to camouflage those a little bit more. Add a little hint of green at the top here and then down here to make more of a shadow here and a shadow here, but the light is going to be the brightest here. Okay, let's get a little bit closer to this tree with some more of the yellow and the white. Just a little bit on the end of the brush. Okay, then I'm going to come in with some more red. Add a bit more of a pop of color in here. And then some black and red. Just a little bit on the end of your brush. A little bit more right here. Back over to a little bit of white and yellow. A little bit more white, just to get right in here, make it nice and bright. Graze over this area, maybe just the tip of that leaf. I'm going to finish up these sun rays, softening with a little bit of water, alternating dry brush and then a little bit of water. And then just a little bit more of this light gold to make the flower look a little more luminous. Okay, this painting's done. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye!